Hello guys, welcome once again to your favorite I'm Amazing channel. Well, as usual, we'll be talking the PLOG series. Today, we'll be talking the unlearning and relearning part, specifically unwrapping an interesting term called neuroplasticity. And I like to call it the fantastic neuroplastic brain. So have you thought about the ease in which you were able to acquire a second language? Or, for instance, how music conductors are able to specifically extract music sources better than the way others are able to do that? Or maybe how cab drivers are able to learn routes. Now I'm talking prior to Google Maps, so how cab drivers are able to master specific routes better than other cab drivers or better than yourself, especially the cab drivers in the UK, in London. Research has shown that the brain is dynamic all through our entire lifetime. Now what this means is it's constantly in change. And so when you stimulate the brain, for instance, with positive or negative as the case may be, but consistent and repetitive stimulus, the brain will respond. Now the term neuroplasticity refers to the biological, chemical, and physical capacity of the brain to change and adapt by reorganizing its structure and its function. And it's driven by a couple of things. First would be the experiences that we gather from new learnings. Next would be memory formation. But unfortunately as well would be the effects of brain damage. Now on one hand, what new experiences does to us is that it creates new neuron pathways. But when those new neuron pathways are not used over time, then you have them being weakened. Now, when we talk neuroplasticity, we're talking about two types. We talk about the structural and we talk about the functional plasticity. Now, from a structural standpoint, we're talking about features within the brain that could lead to physical and structural changes and would be induced by learning experiences as well as memory formation. And here we see the impact on new things that we learn, like new languages, and also on things like enhanced cognitive capabilities as well. When we talk about the functional plasticity, we're talking about how brains are able to divert functions from the damaged sections of the brain to the undamaged sections or zones within the brain. This could mean eventually recovery actually from things like strokes and other traumatic brain injuries. So how does brain plasticity work? During infancy, we see that children experience accelerated brain growth with every single neuron in the cerebral cortex having an estimated 2,500 synapses at birth. Now, interestingly, that number grows 6 times to hit 15,000 synapses for every single neuron at the time the child gets to about 3 years of age. Now, conversely, an adult has about 50% of those number of synapses. And this happens based on the fact that yes, the adult is increasing the number of connections and thus increasing the number of synapses based on the new learnings, but at the same time, the adult, based on misuse and non-use, is also reducing the number of those connections and synapses. And we call this process synaptic pruning. So a few things we can do to improve or increase our neuroplasticity. First, we need to explore new things. And here we could, for instance, try a new language, try to play a new instrument, visit new places, adopt or embrace new interests, and even reading. All these things help to trigger that pathway that embraces new learnings for us. Next, we need to engage in physical activities because what this does is it beefs up dopamine levels, it reduces cortisol levels as well, and it fosters the production of serotonin. And what this does is supports the hippocampus, which is a part of the brain which is responsible for the memory functions we have. Next, we need to embrace the right amount of sleep. And here research, interestingly, has shown that sleep plays a critical part in the growth of what we call dendrites. Now, dendrites are at the end of neurons and they help with the transmission of information from one neuron to the next. So basically by strengthening these connections, we're able to encourage a greater amount of brain plasticity. So guys, as humans, we hold an incredible 86 billion neurons that have the ability to reorganize new pathways and create new connections. basically improve neuroplasticity. But to do this, as we've said, we need to make sure we explore new things, we need to ensure that we engage in physical activities, and we embrace sleep. Thank you guys for staying till the end of this session. I hope you enjoyed the session. Don't forget to click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell button to constantly get notifications on this. And for sure, stay amazing and say to yourself, I'm amazing.